Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think the right place to start for this motion is to commend the work that is going on to keep our streets safe. I walk through Romford's High Street on an almost daily basis, and I'm constantly seeing police officers. They have a fantastic presence on our High Street. And our council is going through a CCTV refresh. You know, we know that the former administration put in place a really fantastic upgrade plan that this administration is now delivering. So work is going on, work is taking place. But there's a bit of a disconnect, Madam Mayor, between what residents hear coming out of councillors and authorities. I remember last year there were a number of stabbings in my ward. I was very concerned about this. Obviously, I think we had 3 or 4 in the space of a week. It was a horrific time. And the messaging that turned up in my inbox from the powers that be was to just keep pushing home that we are a safe borough. We are a low crime borough. And we are a low crime borough, Madam Mayor. It's one of the reasons I moved here. It's a fantastic place to live. But my ward is not a low crime ward. Madam Mayor, just in 1 month this year, in Romford Town Centre, had 81 violent and sexual assaults. Just in April this year. That means 3 people a day in Romford Town Centre, 3 people a day are facing a violent and sexual assault. 64 antisocial behavioural crimes. And these are all well up over the last couple of years. In 2023, it was 74 violent and sexual assaults. So these are on the rise. And 32% of the CCTV in Romford Town Centre is broken. And it hasn't been repaired for years. So we've got a situation in my ward where 3 people a day are being violently and sexually assaulted. The cameras aren't all working. And we're going out to residents and saying it's a low crime borough. And when I repeat that to my residents, they are furious. That is so tone deaf. There are young people walking into community leaders, walking to church leaders, handing in knives because they don't know where to go. That doesn't show up on the statistics. There's young kids mugging each other, going home to the parents and saying someone stole my phone. And they don't report it to the police and it doesn't turn up on the statistics. What we need to do, Madam Mayor, is send a signal to the residents that whilst this is a low crime borough, we are going to do everything within our power to keep the streets safer, and specifically, particularly in my ward in Romford Town Centre. Now, I go back to that point made earlier. We do have a CCTV refreshment plan underway. We've got that fantastic new control room in place. Phase 2 of the scheme is going to be upgrading the cameras. We're going to be making sure there's some fibre optic going in, digital cameras, and that's great. And then you get to phase 3 of the plan. And in the cabinet report, phase 3 says that it doesn't have the funding. It's not included in that initial funding package. And that's the expansion of the network. So whilst we've got a fantastic programme underway, whilst we've got some brilliant police officers doing great work, we've got a phase of our CCTV upgrade plan that has not yet got funding attached to it. So when I'm putting forward this motion today, I'm not putting it forward and saying you guys are doing nothing. You're doing something. And it's good. And it's a continuation of what my colleagues were doing. So it's a real good inheritance of a plan there. But we know that what's coming up is an unfunded phase 3 of the CCTV expansion. And that's what we want to achieve today, is that commitment to say that when we reach that point, we already have the funding secure. And it's important that we secure that funding as soon as possible. Because if I was a betting man, I would say that this time next year, we might be sat in the chamber with a lot less control over our budget and our spending and what goes where. And if we hold tight in the hope that we might have the money available when it reaches phase 3, we might find out that we're just going to have to pull the plug on it completely and the decisions won't be made by the people sat in this chamber. So what I'm asking you to do today is to recognise the fantastic work that's going on, recognise the specific need in Romford Town Centre and in Hornchurch Town Centre, where they are not low crime areas, and to commit that extra funding to make sure that when we do reach that phase, the expansion can go ahead.
Thank you very much.